Hey there, welcome to the Joyful Rebels podcast. We've got Claire and Donna here with another mini episode for you. So, we've gotten requests to pick a topic and kind of riff on it, similar to our reflections, but a little bit shorter. So, today's topic, Mom, what's it going to take?
I love that. And if you're watching on YouTube, you see the hands go up like, what's it going to take? Okay, quick backstory on that. I think it's a very important question to ask ourselves. And it was born out of um, being in a situation, really wanting to help somebody and not being able to kind of cut through our own stories that we tell ourselves. And so in my previous professional life and having the really great opportunity to give feedback, and mostly for fitness professionals, whether they're yoga teachers, personal trainers, Pilates instructors, group fitness instructors, people that are creative, they're in the fitness space. And when we give feedback, it's not to people that are just having issues. It's even the high performing people in their field need to have feedback too, and hopefully it's with somebody that you trust. But it isn't always smooth sailing, but it is always a growth producing opportunity if done in a way that feels mutually beneficial. And the reason I say that is when somebody gives you a feedback, and it should just be the norm, when somebody gives you feedback, it means that they really care, because the easier thing is not to do that. So tuck that in your back pocket and know that. So if somebody's going to give you feedback, some of it can be compliments and some of it can be opportunities for growth, but all of it is a way to just make you better. And just so you know, Claire and I both have people that do that for us. We do that for each other. And let's get some thicker skin and be able to hear some of that so we can grow. Okay, so let's do that as a community. But this phrase, what's it going to take, was born out of that, and dealing with started with a really strong performer, somebody really great in the space, a great influencer, and just had a pattern of a behavior that they just kept repeating. And I had the opportunity to give feedback, and it came up. Had another opportunity to give feedback like a while later, like 6 months later, and it came up again. And the third time, when it's still happening, I finally just put my hands up and went, what's it going to take for you to look at this? Because it's really hindering your performance. And I think that that exasperation, that caring exasperation that came through in my delivery kind of shook something loose, because we all have those things that we hold really tightly, either a way of speaking, a way of behaving, a way of sometimes just getting in our own way. And if you're listening to this and you're nodding your head, you're like, okay, then to have somebody in your world to go, what's it going to take? Then you ask yourself those questions. So what's it going to take is a way to have us go deeper. And the stories that we tell ourselves that are like, well, I don't do this because I just can't remember. Well, okay, I'll give you that on a surface level, but we all have the ability to go a little bit deeper. So you're going to distill downward, like, why do I do that? When do I do that? What do I get out of that? How does that make me feel? Do I really want to get better? Do I want to perform better? Do I want to connect with people better? It comes back to your why. And I
Mhm.
know for me, when my why gets fuzzy, my exchange with people, my delivery, my performance, my engagement, my connection gets a little cloudy too. So it's a way to kind of cut through some of the BS and go right to, like, it's time to reestablish what your why is in this season. So that's another indicator of, you might have had a why, but you've changed a little bit. Your situation has changed a little bit. So the why gets upgraded and refined. And that's going to be a continual process, because it's a dynamic situation and state. So what's it going to be can be kind of exasperated. Really what it is there's an urgency. It means take a look a little bit deeper. I love you. There's something that you should look at to decide if you want to change or not, but you got to get clear on your why first. So that's what it means to me. And if I've ever said that to you, if you're listening, know that I love you. That's why I said it.
I really like that you talking about getting clear on your why. And I think that what's been coming up a lot for me in my life is, am I motivated to make certain changes? And if the first step when you want to make a change is you really have to get clear on your why, like you said, and getting deeper. So if your first response seems a little surface level, or if it's external, you're looking for some type of external validation, to distill it down to that why, to give you that internal motivation. We know from science that's going to be way stickier than if you're going for that external. also, when you said sense of urgency, and we're saying, what's it going to take? I think there really is that lie that we sometimes tell ourselves, right? That there's a perfect time to start something.
Hmm.
And so I think when we start asking ourselves, well, what's it going to take, we can debunk that lie. And I know right now, recording this, right, we're halfway through summer. And
Hmm.
I know for a lot of people, and I totally generalizing here, but different goals that we have, we might say, oh, well, it's the summer. So I do have goals that I want to do, but I'm going to start them in the fall. And we think that we can't get any of that traction, right? Because, oh, it's a weird time frame. Maybe kids are home or my schedule's a little bit different. But again, I mentioned the word lie. There is no perfect time to start something. So what's it going to take? Maybe it's just that awareness that, oh, I'm telling myself I'm going to start something in the future because I think it's some perfect time and all the pieces are going to come into
Hmm.
play and it's going to be easier. No, the key is to start now.
Hmm.
And so we talked a little bit about this, Mom, but maybe an action item is, if the question is, what's it going to take? Maybe the action item is, what can you do right now? What's something that maybe you've already identified that you want to do? And you said, oh, I'm going to do this once the kids are back in school, or I'm going to do this once it gets a little bit cooler outside. Can you go counterculture or maybe a little bit of a rebellious act in there
Hmm.
and take a step towards that goal today?
Mm.
I don't know. What do you think?
I absolutely think that. And the things that we tell ourselves are to protect ourselves. So another layer to that, and I agree with everything you're saying, Claire, the what's it going to take brings it on your radar. Like that's enough to get your attention first. Because remember, getting our attention, it's easy for us to just kind of live where we're not really plugged in. So you
Mhm,
got to have your attention just up, and then you can have your awareness start to develop. So I appreciate that the times that I get a chance to witness people that are making really great strides in their goals, the thing they have in common is that they just started. It didn't have to be January 1st. It didn't have to be this artificial kind of culturally accepted time to start anew. Maybe
mhm,
it's a change in a season or whatever. Okay, it could be, but when we delay to get to this artificial date in order to start something, time's going to pass anyway.
mhm,
Time's going to pass anyway. So I would rather be this much fitter, have
mhm,
this much more calm, get a little closer to being able to meditate and breathe for just a few minutes longer, because that will help everybody along the way. So I'm just going to try and get real with it. I'm going to grab my attention and be like, what is it going to take? And oftentimes when I really go inward, it takes me just stop telling myself the lie that I'll just do it later. And I'm not beating myself up on it, but I'm going to tell myself the truth. I'm going to just admit that in my quiet moments. Usually it makes me laugh. I'm like, oh, I'm doing that again. That's okay. And I'm like, I don't beat myself up with it. I realize it. And then I'm like, what small thing can I do today? And I'm making things so small these days. And yeah, I still love I put my wins journal on my laptop with it open. I write in it all the time. I'm reinforcing and nourishing myself. So to you guys that are listening, what one thing can you do? And maybe it's just whether it's getting outside, drinking your water, moving, listening to things that nourish you instead of just distract you, quiet time away from your phone. You pick, but do something, because it won't take long and you'll feel better for it. And there's no great time to start other than today.
just do the thing. Well, thank you so much for listening, Rebels, to another mini episode of the Joyful Rebels podcast. We are having fun, and we hope you're having fun listening. Until next time.